Hi, I'm Kiki and I'm the Starlight Witch. This video was actually supposed to be posted, I think 3 weeks ago. I recorded it last week, and then when I was reviewing the footage, the intro and the outro are not usable due to background noises. So I'm going to have to re-record those two parts, and then the rest of the video is going to be from last week, so hopefully it all flows okay. This video is about the 5 things I wish I knew before I started paganism, so I hope it can help others feel more confident in their path. So let's get straight into the video now. The first thing is that you'll never stop learning. Literally never. I feel like a lot of people think that they need to know a bunch of knowledge when they first start and try to consume as much knowledge as possible, and that's important. I think it's more important to start small and you'll learn over time. You don't need to know a bunch of things when you first start, because you'll constantly be learning and growing as you continue in your path. I think when you're learning, you should, like in witchcraft, you should have a journal or a book of some sort. It could be digital if you want, but you should have something to contain all your knowledge on it. And it can be, if you're also a witch, it can be the same book that you use to keep all the information on witchcraft. I personally usually combined my witchcraft and pagan information because my paths intertwine. You should write down as much information as you can on it, because if you don't, you'll most likely forget or something, and then you won't have that information. So if you have it all stored in one, or maybe you have a few notebooks on different parts, it is very helpful. You can always look back on what you've wrote, and I think it's a necessity for almost anything, I guess, but definitely for researching your path. The next thing is that your path will never, or almost never, look like someone else's. You might have similarities, but since there's so many different pagan beliefs and pagan religions, even if you're in the same pagan religion, there's so much to them that you probably are going to have completely different paths than some people. For example, there are so many different pagan gods, and not everyone's going to follow or worship the same one. And worshiping or working with different gods is obviously going to change your path quite a bit, and that's just one way. There's also different holidays. You might not celebrate the same holiday as someone else, or you might celebrate the same holiday but in different ways. And having such a different path than other people is actually a good thing, because that means that your path has been altered for yourself and your beliefs, which makes it more meaningful for yourself. But there are people who will have a very similar path to you, and that's okay too. And actually creating relationships with those types of people you can trade information with, that is very helpful for you both to continue learning through your path. Another thing I think a lot of people struggle and worry with is that a lot of people think paganism has to be like ancient paganism, and there are a lot of pagans who do research on ancient paganism, and they only follow the path the way that pagans used to. There are also so many modern pagans who take information from ancient traditions and they alter it to fit their wants and needs and make it more accessible for them. And that's actually very important. Once you start in paganism, you should definitely look into how things were done anciently, and then alter the practices and traditions to fit what you're able to do and what you want to do. That is very important, and I think a lot of people kind of get worried about that. So it's very important to know that you don't have to do everything they did in the ancient times, and you can take traditions and alter them in pretty much any way that you need to fit your accessibility and your beliefs and just anything else you need. Another big thing I think a lot of people worry about is growing out of beliefs, and this is very important, and it's not stoppable. And I think a lot of people get worried, like once they start growing out of belief, that they think like something they're doing is wrong, and that's not true. You will grow out of so many different beliefs, and you might even start with one pagan religion and move to another one. That happened to me. I first started out in Wicca, and then I moved to Hellenism. And it might take a while to grow out of belief. You might believe something or practice in something for over a year, and then one day it just doesn't fit for you anymore, and that's completely okay and very normal. And that growth is very important, because your path you'll always be learning, you'll always be changing, and that is very important and very good. Something I see a lot in Hellenism in particular is people hating on certain gods because of their myths. So it's very important to understand that the gods are not their myths. Myths are man-made to help people understand the gods on a different level. The myths were created as spiritual and poetic truths and not literal ones. You should look into myths because they are helpful to understand how the gods were perceived, and a lot of them are just really interesting. I enjoy researching mythology and hearing about all the different myths, because in our modern time we don't have things like that, so it's just very interesting to me. So you should look into it, but just keep in mind that the gods are not their myths. I wanted to add one more thing to this video because I had to do this the other day, and I feel like a lot of people might be worried about this, is that if you are working with or worshiping a deity and you light an incense or a candle for them, and something happens to a point where you need to forcefully put it out for safety reasons, the gods will not be upset in any way, and you should put it out immediately. I had to do that the other day. One of my incense started burning some wood, and I just had to pour water on it. It does not offend the gods. They do not want you starting a house fire, and you should not worry about it, and get it out immediately. But thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!